Hey guys, Duke DeLate for the Intimacy Liberation Army, and today we're talking about how to develop wit and a sense of humor. Being humorous, having humorous personality can help you in a whole lot of situations. It might be especially useful in group scenarios like Jax teaches, and super useful in developing initial attraction and keeping the hard suffering from life from destroying your relationship. You can kind of reroute and mistrack things that truly don't matter, let it slide. And if you keep a good vibe around you with the humor, you don't have to get all caught up in the drama, the suffering of life. So if you want to make friends, influence other people, you're going to have a good time with a decent sense of humor. And so here's how you develop it. Here's some suggestions. Uh, Bring you on the road to more of a comical sensibility. Tip number one: focus on things that make you laugh. Focus on things that make you chuckle and giggle and lose control in your own brain. If you think about the things that make you laugh, you think about your favorite comedians, think about the shows and the sitcoms you watch, think about the things in the environment, think about the things that some of your funniest friends say, and go back in your memory to a time where you just were giddy and happy and sort of addicted to the laughter in the moment, and bring up those things in your mind, especially on a regular basis. One of the core components of this channel is what you focus on expands, right? Like if you focus on negativity and you stay negative, you focus on positive, you stay more positive. You focus on the suffering and not the solutions, then you stay in suffering, and if you focus on the solutions, then you start solving shit. So in the same way, focus on all the fun stuff that's going on. Keep your mind back on the things that make you laugh, and it will set your brain on that path. You know, set your RAS to notice the things that are funny and are that provide a lot of hilarious amusement. If you want to get super deep into this stuff, there's a book I read a while back. It was super badass. It was called Comedy Writing Secrets by Melvin Helitzer. And I got it from David D'Angelo's stuff, 10, 15 years ago. And it's been kind of the structural framework of how I think about comedy in general. It's super deep though, so make sure you, when you start to check it out, do the exercises and don't just skim it because you'll miss a lot of it. Yeah. So tip number two is don't limit yourself. It's important to experiment with different types of humor, see what works, especially in some different social groups, different environments, different venues. Some people don't find some things funny, and some people do. Like if you're, at your grandma's church, they're gonna find different things funny than the people at the smoking patio at the big club in Vegas. They're gonna be contextually different, and so you should adjust your testing, adjust your you know what's the word I keep using? Oh, progressive iteration. You should adjust that and test in different environments, so you kind of know what's going to land well in particular social groups and particular venues and in particular environments. Explore all the varieties of comedy that exists. You can be self-deprecating, you can banter a little bit, you can tell formal jokes, you can make witty remarks about observational things in the environment. You can go take a stand-up class. You can go take improv classes. Just focus on all the different areas that you could work on, and then start systematically making a plan to go test it in all of these environments. Don't limit yourself to one kind of communication style, because you don't know what's going to fit you the best. And when you find the one that does, then you can capitalize and really focus on making deep work in that area. Tip number three is kind of related. Get some experience at making people laugh. If you want to get better at telling jokes, just do it. Tell your closest friends, tell your family members, your coworkers, people that you run into on a day-to-day basis. Tell them some jokes, or make your witty comments, or do your banter all the time. Say funny shit to the people in line with you. when you're at the grocery store, at the gas station, or whatever. Just work it out all the time, because the more often you practice, the more you see what lands and hits in different environments and how people are responding. Tip number 4, observe and imitate the greats. There are some of the best comedians in the world available for free on YouTube, available for free on Netflix, and all this other venues where you can watch media. My favorites are Steve Martin, Dane Cook, and some of the more edgy guys like Bill Burr and what's his name, the old guy, Carlin. I like Carlin a lot, George Carlin, and watch a lot of the, especially with different environments. If you watch a lot of the female comics, there's some comics on the TikTok. I don't even know their names, and I see them on, they pop up a lot because I follow them, and you can kind of see the perspective, the comedic perspective from another person, right? So like, I'm not a woman, so seeing the world through a woman's eyes, I'd much rather see it through the eyes of a female comic than I would through the eyes of a pessimist. So check that out. Observe and imitate the people that are really good at it and who are getting those kind of results. And like Tony Robbins says, success leaves clues. And so go see the clues that these people who are expertly funny, who have their own comedy specials and stuff, see their timing, see their delivery, see the subjects they talk about, and see how they twist subjects on their head. Because much of comedy is a surprise at the end. It's like you start your mind thinking in one direction, and then you flip it on its head and create this little I forget what Hellitzer calls it. There's this like turn at the end of a delivery for a punchline. But watch how they do it. Watch how the great people do it, and imitate. Tip number 5: don't take life too seriously. One of the hallmarks of a good sense of humor is the capacity to take a humorous look at your own self, and in your own situations that you get into. If you can find a way to laugh at yourself about the mistakes that you make, about the awkward situations you get yourself in, about the challenges that you have that you don't meet with the greatest grandeur or bravado, those are the things that create that sort of human goofiness, that human I don't know what the word is. It's like being able to laugh at your own self is really tension breaking. Like it keeps the vibe of your moving through the suffering of life super super chill. Like if you're able to kind of like let it roll off your back and deal with life, and not get all fucking caught up and taking everything so seriously, and like getting sucked down into the drama and the more negative aspects of how you perceive your own circumstances, then you become a kind of person that other people seek out when they're in that space, to get them out of their space. If some people will seek support by people who suffer the same way that they do and perceive the world the same way they do, and they're looking for that, and no amount of humor is going to help them. But other people who want kind of a relief from the way that they're looking at the world, if you're the kind of person who does that for yourself, they're sort of naturally gravitated toward you. Tip number 6: thinking on your feet. Get that ability. Practice that ability. One of the best ways I ever did to do this was to take improv classes. I took a couple of classes in Las Vegas with my buddy Josiah, and it taught me how to like see the world in 15 different ways, and then choose one quickly, and ignore some of the self-judgment to convey myself with as much humor as I could. And sometimes what's great about improv is you fail a whole lot, and you don't really focus on that. You just sort of dwell on the good times that you bring up. And so let's say if you're on an improv stage and you're doing all these exercises, everybody fucks up, because the whole point is to throw you a curveball through all the exercises that you do and make you think on your feet. That's one of the best ways to get around that sort of like mind lock of not being able to know what to say or not even being able to come across in a contiguously funny way. Um, Last tip. Let's do tip number 7. I'm gonna skip over these two because they suck. Uh, don't overexert yourself. Don't be too try hard. Don't take it too far. Developing a good sense of humor, a quick wit, it takes a lot of practice, and you're gonna have to go out and try. Just like I was saying in tip 1, like go out and iterate and try in different environments with different types of people and different moods with different vibes. It's a long, slow process, but there's a lot of payoffs, like momentary payoffs. Um, it's super counterproductive to force it. Like, don't try too hard. You want to kind of try 1 or 2 steps out of your comfort zone, see how it's received, and then come back. Because sometimes uh, you've all been around the guy who's trying to be too funny, and then he like goes too far and offends everybody. You don't want to be that guy, so don't do that. Uh, Attempting humor that isn't there can make you come across as awkward, unnatural, trying to fit in, and it usually gets you kicked out of the group pretty quickly. Like, people start to not engage with you. People will leave or find excuses to not have you talk to them. I'm sure you've had that experience with other people who are like too drunk, and then they're like too much, too fast, and you're like, okay, bro, that was cool, and then you're like, fucking, let's get out of here. So you don't want to be that person. So just stretch a couple of steps beyond your comfort zone and see what's going to be received well. And then if it's not received well, just draw back, calibrate, and then try again and try again and try again. As long as you're um, flowing with the group or flowing with the venue or the conversation, you're going to be fine when you make 4 or 5 mistakes. You don't have to call yourself out. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. You don't have to take it all seriously. You just like, oh, that didn't work. Next thing. And sometimes I'll say something and people look at me like I'm weird, and I'll try to repeat myself to like get it, but there's no real response. Like, repeating yourself takes the humor out of it because the takes the surprise element out of it. So you just kind of like, yeah. Sometimes the things I say are funnier than others. I just keep moving, and they go, okay, okay, whatever, weirdo. And then you keep talking, and it's fine. And as soon as you hit on something good, just like the improv class, you can celebrate that. And you don't have to worry about all the times that you failed. So go out, put in the time and effort, develop a good sense of humor, but don't be too try hard. Don't go too far until you really understand the lay of the land and create the um, intrinsic understanding of the environment or the territory. So that's my tips on doing good humor. We're doing this every damn day here at Intimacy Liberation Army. Me and Jax are delivering hardcore content. So I'll see you tomorrow. Till then, stay awesome.